Broncos country, we are Bo Nix days away from week 1 against the Titans. Man, I know this is kind of the annoying time between, roster cuts. There's a pretty long gap now with the new scheduling before we get into some real football. So hopefully you guys enjoy your Labor Day with your family and friends. Enjoy some college football for all my college football guys out there. But we are going to be talking about some burning questions regarding the Broncos week 1 matchup against the Titans. Some things that I'm really curious about, that I'm concerned about, that I really am looking forward to seeing. So like and subscribe. If y'all love Denver sports, man, hit the subscribe button, like the video. I'd really appreciate it. But most importantly, interact with me in the comments. I love chatting with you guys down there as well. So let's get into it with number 1, man. That's going to be the run game, right? The run game is something that I think is the biggest X factor by far, in a way that will determine the success of the Denver Broncos in 2025. All right. If the Broncos cannot even be a league average running team, I don't think they're going to be able to accomplish the goals they have set out to be, right? I'm confident in our defense. I'm confident in the development of Bo Nix, but we have to be able to run the ball. I was way too frustrated last year, not to bring you guys down memory lane, but way too frustrated last year with all of the 3 and outs and the inability for this team to get into a rhythm. And you guys will be able to see, once the run game gets going, if the offense gets into a rhythm, Sean Payton gets into his bag as a play caller, because you can set things up. You can do the play action, keep the defense on their toes. I cannot wait to see what J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey bring to this team. I'm excited to see, what those wide zone concepts that Sean Payton seems to be really optimistic about, what does it look like? But I want it to yield results. I do believe that even though there's a whole lot of R.J. Harvey hype, as they should be, I think J.K. Dobbins is certainly going to lead the way in terms of overall touches. I think he will be the third down back. In fact, I did a little bit of a research project earlier. And on average throughout Sean Payton's tenure, both here in Denver so far and, in the many years that he was down with New Orleans, running backs would average 30 to 35 touches a game. That's obviously catching the ball and receiving, and that's all running backs. So that's ideally what he wants to be in, right? You're getting 30 to 35 touches a game for your running backs. That means, you're getting a lot of first downs. You're typically scoring a lot of points because you're getting a lot of offensive plays happening. And so that's what I want to see. So if you're taking the number 30, for example, let's just say 30 touches between both of them, I think you could see it being divvied up of I would say probably 20 of those, or maybe 16 of those would go to would go to J.K. Dobbins. I think R.J. Harvey would get about 12, and then 2 or 3 or whatever that might ends up being will go to Tyler Bidet, because I do think you'll see some Bidet on there. Be interesting to see who they ultimately elevate. But I think it's going to be the J.K. Dobbins show. I think he's going to be the third down back. But nonetheless, you also really want, I feel like for me, you want to use J.K. Dobbins in the pass game as much as possible, but you want to get R.J. Harvey going on in the run game, because you got to develop him at the same time as, trying to get the offense up and going. So figure out ways, but really excited to see what the run game as a whole is going to look like. Obviously, it's imperative, and I expect for it to just get better and better throughout the year. So I think as a team overall, we're going to be pretty rusty. We're not necessarily going to look very good in week 1 against the Titans. I still think it's a game we should absolutely win. But you want to see promise. You want to see creativity. And most importantly, you want to see Sean Payton sticking with it. He gets very, very anxious to just get Bo Nix throwing the ball. And that's fine. But not always. We got to get a run game going. Make it a lot easier on him. So that's what I want to see. Number 2 is, I want to know if Nick Bonitto is going to get this contract, right? With the Micah Parsons news breaking today, him being traded to the Green Bay Packers. Crazy trade, man. Kind of was going back and forth as to who won the trade. And anyways, nonetheless, it's funny to see the Cowboys fall flat on their face. A terrible owner that they have there in Jerry Jones. But, does the Micah contract, 4-year, $188 million contract, 138 of that guaranteed, does it have any effect on Bonitto? Or are they just viewed as very different, different tier and different echelon type of players? Listen, I love me some Nick Bonitto. I think he's phenomenal, and absolutely we should pay him and get him extended. But he's not in the same tier as Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons was also very much overpaid in a way, and that's kind of what happens when you're already giving up 2 first-round picks. You're not going to balk at giving up a few extra $1 million here and there. So that being said, I'd like to know, I personally feel very optimistic that the Broncos and Nick Bonitto are going to get the deal done. I think that they should. And I'm just curious to see if this Micah Parsons deal ultimately ended up affecting it. anybody saying like, oh, George Payton, Sean Payton waited too long, now the price just went up on Micah. Guys, it very well could have been that Nick Bonitto and his team were saying, no, we want to wait. Kind of in their interest, right? Lower chance of getting injured during camp. You can wait it out as long as you need. It was probably going to get, if it is going to get done, it was probably going to get done sometime this week, like from now up until next Sunday. So it'll be interesting. Nonetheless, I definitely want to see that get done. And then thirdly, man, is these inside linebackers. Sean Payton today in his post-game presser or post-practice presser talked to a lot of interesting things. Some Sam Ehlinger stuff as well. We can get to that later on a different episode. But he did say, and people are freaking out about this. They're so funny. He did say, yes, we kept 3 inside linebackers on the practice squad because of the injuries to the starters right now and putting Dre Greenlaw and Alex Singleton onto a pitch count. Yes, that is what they should do. Obviously, these guys did not play at all during the preseason. They've both been battling injuries, soft tissue injuries for Dre Greenlaw, obviously the ACL and the thumb for Alex Singleton. So I expect for them to play a majority of the snaps for inside linebackers. But listen, guys, Sean Payton and this coaching staff are super diligent when it comes to limiting snaps, not just to get guys in the right football shape, but to prevent injuries. And it's worked very well for them to this point. So yes, you are going to mix some guys in. I expect for Lavelle Bailey to be elevated. I expect for Sternad to also, obviously he's going to be available. Maybe Karene Reed is a game day inactive. Maybe he is active, but nonetheless, I expect for Lavelle Bailey to be the guy that actually fills in, even though he's on the practice squad in those reps, along with potentially Justin Sternad, because you're getting guys that, you want to get at least a little bit of experience in there. They can call the defense. They can be the green dot guy when the other guys are off. So not a big deal. Nothing to worry about. I think it's better that they're easing those guys into it as well. We cannot forget it's a 17-game season. So we'll see how that ends up going. But I think the inside linebackers are going to be interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing how, whether it's Lavelle Bailey or Karene Reed, how they look out there against ones in a regular season game. It's going to be big time there. So pumped for that. And I'm also curious, man, if Marvin Mims, and thankfully the Marvin Mims injury seems to be very minor. He is going to be available for practice on Monday. They get a bonus practice on Monday, so they get the weekend off. He'll be there on Monday. He's expected to practice. If that's the case, he should be good to go for the game on Sunday. But if he's not end up being good for the game, that's where I get really curious on who's going to be the fill-in. Who would be the fill-in kick returner and punt returner? If you look across the roster, including the practice squad, the only guy that really makes sense, at least from a punt return standpoint, is Michael Bandy. So, might be a Michael Bandy sighting early. We'll see. And that gets me into the elevations, man. So, I think Adam Prentice is no doubt about it going to be a game day elevation from the practice squad. I think he'll be playing quite a bit week 1, being that he's the only fullback on the team. That'll probably be the trend for the first 3 weeks before they have to make a move to bring him onto the active roster. And everything's, like I said, it's very fluid up until that point. I do believe that Lavelle Bailey will also be a game day elevation and someone that is going to be activated. And maybe they bring a third up from the practice squad. It could be Throckmorton. I don't think that they should do that. I feel like you should save his elevations for later, but it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it could be Michael Bandy or A.T. Perry, but most likely if Marvin Mims is out, it's actually most likely going to be Bandy just because of what he can do on special teams. But we'll see, man. I'm excited to see a lot of things. And I'm curious to know what you guys' thoughts are below in the comments of what you're looking forward to seeing. What questions do you have for this team? So let me know below. Till the next video, man. Y'all take it easy and peace out.